guess, is we don't have anybody official. Go ahead, never mind. Brian, would you lead us?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 3, reorganization of the select board, the selectmen schedule review. What have we? We're going to fill chairman, vice chairman, and then we have committees on them.
You should have your.
All right, we'll open up for nominations.
I'll make a nomination. I'd like to nominate Bill Nelson as chair.
Second.
Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Vice chairman.
To make a motion that Richard Zacher be vice chairman?
Second that. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Official person to get up in the middle of the night to open to call. I nominate. All right, let's look over our subcommittees and who's going to be the rep on these different committees. Do you have any preferences, either one of you? I know, Rich, you have expressed that before.
I guess I'd like to continue with the cemetery, going down the list, right?
Okay. You're not on the list, are you?
What's Clifford was up there?
Yeah, subcommittee.
Where are you looking?
I'm going down the list with the highlights.
Oh, up there, I'm sorry, I'm looking at cemetery trustees. I apologize. Okay. You're next, Brian. What's your favorite? Depends on whether you want to meet a lot or you don't like eating.
By the road committee.
All right, let's not give this.
Last page.
Oh, here it is. Okay, my turn. I'll stay with the ZBA. They don't do it often, so that should work for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're next, Rich.
I guess I'll do the planning
Then
board.
we could nominate everybody all at the end.
I'll do the planning board.
Okay.
I was looking at the Heritage Commission.
You were.
Yes.
Oh, no, you know you have to work with it.
I understand.
We're a nice little commission.
Never sign up for ZBA. Conservation Commission. Things should slow down now. So I'll make the meetings. What else do we have?
Agriculture and cable.
Nope.
Cable.
Cable we did away with.
I don't know why I didn't do
Okay.
that, sorry about that.
So that's been done away with, and we got ZBA, trustees, I think that's it, right? Unless we missed anything? Okay, you make a nomination for all of those?
Yes, I'd like to nominate the various representatives to the committees as just discussed.
Okay, second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, we've never done it that fast.
Public comments? Public? Yes.
Just related to the work you just did, I know that in the past, I'm on the planning board, in the past, we've occasionally had an issue where the person from the selectmen's rep, the ex officio, couldn't make the meeting. And often we did not have an alternate or a designated alternate. I'm just wondering whether it makes sense to also designate, I don't know how you guys want to handle alternates, whether you want all the alternates to everything or whether you want to have a designated one. It's helpful for, for the boards to have full complement and have the selectmen represented whenever possible.
Sure,
So
especially if it's, whoa, 2 people, all right.
I'm watching you.
We warned you, you're coming. You here to introduce yourselves, or?
No, just checking out the meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Well, we can introduce a new officer.
There you
Sure,
go. There
that's
you go.
it. Wait a minute now, we'll get you on camera now. Smile.
Smile Fred.
Officer LaFerret. Nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. We're glad to see you. Oh, you're always welcome to stop in at meetings, and we'll be pleased to have you visit. Okay? Good. Hopefully we'll keep it quiet today, so you won't have any rowdiness. That's a very good comment. I'd rather, if we could hold off for next, we give it some thought how to do it. Sometimes we've appointed an alternate that fills in from the public, and I know there's been other times over the years that one of the other selectmen fill in, so we can give thought to which way we're going to go on that. In the meantime, if you can't be at something, we'll call each other.
Fine.
So we can decide that next meeting. Could you put that on our list for next time? Thank you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great,
Okay.
thank you.
Good. Any other public comments? Mr. Brown, anything you're, no, just sitting here. Approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one from March 2nd and one from March 12th.
And it's 3.
Which three?
Great.
Oh, February 26th. Well, I'd like to hold these off, if you don't mind. We would do it at the end.
Do that?
Yeah, because I want to say I read one of these. I'm not sure I read all three, so I feel uncomfortable doing it now. So we'll do it just before the end. Treasurer's report.
So it's been a busy time. So tonight I have for you to sign the MS2, which was the town budget, the MS5, which is last year's numbers, as well as bank documents. So what I'd like to do is have those signed at the end of the meeting if we can.
Sure.
And I will give you bills. There were a few bills that came in afterwards.
I'll put one in your mailbox, if you know, it went with the rest of the bills to be.
Four, yeah. So these are the bills to be approved. We kind of, poor Brian's getting inundated, but we kind of walked him through the process. So if you will initial them and pass them on. And then we do have a few checks that need signing. The checks for the people that worked at the polls as well as the supervisors of the checklist.
Don't hesitate asking questions. We have all the, not that you would, but.
And then I also did the monthly
That's one down.
report. And I talked at length with one of our townspeople after the town meeting, and I thought it would be a good idea to now start putting this report that I do for you on the website. And
It's really
just
not.
the explanation of what we.
Yeah, because it's page 7 of 8.
Oh, okay. That's a different subtotal.
So we're going to post this as a PDF to the website after each of the meetings.
Both revenue and expense.
Yes, both revenue and expense.
Sounds good.
And then townspeople can see how it changes from month to month. So,
Does it show last year's expenditures?
no, it does not. It could. With a little more work, but it could.
What we're trying to
But
do.
then what you have to do, what you should do is show last year's budget versus last year's expenses.
But
And
this
then
time
you're
you-
gonna have to go back to landscape versus portrait.
Yeah, what I've been toying with this issue also, and it's good to get visibility to what's happening with our expenditures and our revenue.
Well, somebody we pay to do the
If
paper.
we,
Okay.
That's one of these crazy forms.
If we
that sound
spend-
cheaper to have somebody professionals.
if we spend to the authorized level, that's going to have a positive impact. It's going to have a negative impact on our tax rates. They're going to go up. Because the tax rate was based upon what we actually spent last year, not what was budgeted. So if we look at the spreadsheet and we're measuring ourselves against our budget and we spend our budget completely, that could very well impact with a increase in our taxes. So we shouldn't be measuring ourselves against that number, I believe. We should be measuring ourselves that number and what we actually spent last year. Because what we spent last year is what the tax rate was calculated on.
You have a few problems, though.
Go ahead.
We have been in situations, we use the road agent, where we have to swap numbers around.
Yep.
We've done that in all situations where we've moved from one thing to another, which we have the right to do within the budget.
Yep.
How's that going to work out?
You take the year-end numbers.
Yes.
Bottom line.
You go to the bottom line.
Oh, I don't care about the bottom line. I'm talking about the subcategories.
Oh,
Because it may cause more confusion.
Yeah,
The bottom line's not an issue. I think that's fine.
I am not sure you want to go to every line item. I would think that maybe the category
The total category?
for the selectmen, for the road agent, for the whatever, as opposed to how it's being spent within that category should be sufficient, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's
So it's going to be what? Can you explain it again? I can see the totals. You want totals for each heading.
yeah. 3190, for example, penalties and interest. If someone really wants to see what makes that up, we can break it down in a meeting, or they can come on and just see it.
So when you come in the next time and this is on here, you're just going to see a total here with no breakdown.
On the web. Marilou said on the web. For the public to see. That's what.
Yeah, there's nothing to hide, but I
No.
mean, it just, as you need to monkey things around, I don't want people to, we do it for the best interest of everybody.
That's right.
Sometimes Virginia will overspend.
Yep.
Sometimes this one will underspend, so we try to work it out. Show it where we can, but like Eddie's, we hate to use you. The project goes over from one thing, for example, we're paving a road and it goes over $10,000, well, we'll tap his, one of his accounts.
Let's do an easier one on the revenue side. If we start to get shortfalls on the revenue,
Sure, that's a good thing.
then we should know about that and figure out what we're going to do. If we don't get the block grants that we expected, if we don't get the timber tax, if we don't get this income, then we want to know that.
We've already gotten a letter saying the block grant's gone down. And the other one we will get a notice of, I know what the April payment will be, and then the payment for July, we won't know until June. I think they said they sent out a letter.
Sounds reasonable, let's give it a try.
The other thing you'll
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
what I would say to you is, you'll know when I hit June and I can't pay the school and the other big bills that we have, you'll know we're short, in my mind. That's how I kind of judge it. And if the money isn't in the bank, then we're running short for some reason. So,
We've done before, we've sat on the bill for a little bit, till the school, especially when the taxes
Yes.
come in, we get into
Yes.
tax season.
right.
Was it two different bills last year? Or did I see it twice?
There is,
Okay.
So maybe for the next meeting, we could bring what we're proposing to put on the web,
yeah,
Sure.
and we can all look at that and see.
Yeah, that's a good compromise, just see what it's going to look like. Yeah, that's fine. These are hidden here.
Okay.
These are the ones we've already signed.
I
Maybe those, maybe those.
Sure. will tell you that I've mailed in the 2012 workman's comp audit to Primex, so they have that at this point. We still do have a sticking point with a couple of the categories, and we'll see what we do with it. They're still not giving us any more credit against a $2,000 bill versus a $600 bill we paid last year, so I'll keep you posted. As far as the state of New Hampshire, I filed the quarterly payroll tax statement at the end of December. I've filed it twice manually, mailing them the stuff. The first time they didn't accept it because it's not on their new form. God love them. And so they now are requesting that everything be filed electronically with them. So I went online last night, signed us up for electronic filing. But one of the bills I was asking you to approve was a $25 fine for getting it in late. So we'll pay the $25 and now I can do it
So we
electronically.
can find them every time they're late? Question on the Lexus, the legal books. We always pay this money, and I really wonder, is it free online, or you have to pay to get at it online?
Statutes are all online for,
So is there, I'm wondering if it's worth the $429.
Those are the RSA books, aren't they?
Yes.
Not just those, but the ones the planning board and the CBA use.
Right.
And your question is to,
Should we pay $429 to renew our subscription to getting these?
Is that
That is those.
that shelf?
Yeah. Versus having the computer, be able to look up on the computer, since it's public information. How often during a meeting does somebody run over and use it?
not those, but the ones that we often,
Planning board, on the planning board, we reference them. But that can't be $400 for those books, right? I mean, that's gotta be more expensive than.
$429.
what is it, I mean, what's the description for the bill?
Service period 6/13 to 5/14, Lexus, New Hampshire, revised statutes, 32 full set.
So that sounds like it is just that set.
Any thoughts, anybody? Ernie? You've been a,
I used them constantly. As a selectman, there are going to be constant questions that come up that you can go right over there and find the answers.
versus using a computer.
I always use the computer. Maybe what we have to do is put the application on that computer.
I have a shortcut on my computer to the table of contents.
Or you can do a search on a topic.
And the thing about that is, the computer's updated instantly when they make the change, and sometimes it can take a couple of months before they come over here.
So that's my
So it
take.
is a good point.
I think, I agree with all that. I think one of the problems, like I'd bring my computer to like the planning board meeting, and I could just use the computer version. And I'd actually probably prefer that because it's easier to find stuff, because you can just search for it. But I don't have wireless access.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
So-
Do we have wireless access?
I would assume
Or
that's
can we
possible.
tap into one of these
No, we
outlets?
have
Yeah,
wireless.
I think we have wireless.
We have
do have
wireless.
wireless.
But it's a secure network, right? So normal people like me don't know the
But-
password or whatever, right? So I'm just saying that.
But you know what? Planning board could have access. There's no reason they couldn't. I could tell what's his name.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Well, if everybody could talk to the committees that they're on and get their feedback, and we'll just sit on this for a little bit and see what they do. I mean, it's $429, happy to take it off the planning board's budget if they wanted that thing.
No, I mean, I give you my opinion. I like the web. I've never used the books. Where you can have them.
Same thing. It's easier. It's So, anyway, if everybody checks with the committee they're on and just see their feeling on it, then is it worth the $429? So, I'll let you hold on to that till our...
I just have an additional question for that.
Sure.
If someone like Rob is on the planning board, would it be okay to give the password out for the secured network? Who is that for? You know what I mean?
So he would have his own sign in and whatever, say for the planning board, is what I would recommend. So that, anyone on the planning board could then, all they're going to do is get to the internet. They're just going through
Right.
the server to get there.
But is it okay that they have that? So they can have their own
Why
ticket
not?
on there? I don't know, just.
So we would know who was on it.
Yeah.
So if somebody's parked
Yeah.
outside,
Okay.
it's worth it.
Right.
Is there a way to make sure that yearly that access number changes, or for the people who cycle off these boards, don't sit outside and use?
Right. It could be given to, so what I would probably say is it's given to a designated person, like if Rob is on the planning board. I would think the planning board and possibly ZBA would use it the most. And a person be designated to have the access code for that. And then you know, when Rob is no longer on the planning board, then it would, that number would be changed to something else.
You
Just
give
the
it to
password.
You just give it to the chair of each board,
You could?
and then that chair is the person responsible for it, and when they're no longer on the board, then new chair puts a new, chooses a new password, right?
You could do it that way.
Then when you get the keys to the building, you get the keys to the wireless router.
Okay. So why don't we explore that, see what they feel about using Alexis books versus having access. Now, do most of the committees bring a laptop with them?
I don't, but I don't technically need to look up RSAs. We're working on other stuff. We work more with the town book and stuff like that during research.
Then the next question would be, could we take the planning board computer and/or that computer and limit access to the RSAs?
I'm not sure this one has internet access. I think it only goes, the one in the back, I think it only goes to the information on the server. The one in the common office does have access to the internet because I've used it. So that one could be used as well. And George would know how to get on the internet.
Yeah, I'm sure he does, but
Yeah.
it's not easy to move around either. So.
Well, that's...
No.
that-
I mean, I don't mind using my personal laptop if I want to. I mean, it's...
Does it have print capabilities on that common
I don't need to
computer?
print, I don't need, I'm just, you know...
Well,
talking
but
about
if you're
save it.
printing one out and everyone wants to see, you print out 4 or 5 copies and, you know, in case there's discussion on an RSA.
Well, we can always have George go in and do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yes,
so.
you could.
So,
Yes, George has printing capabilities.
Okay. All right, so we'll hold and see what everybody has to say, and that, that's some good suggestions.
All right, we do have a few checks to sign. So I think what I'm going to ask is that Brian not sign till I get the
Bank card?
signature cards. I have them here tonight, but they won't get to the bank till Friday. So if the rest of us could sign, then we'll get your signature on the next batch of checks. And that will be, the process is I take these home tonight. I will email you sometime, no later than Friday morning, to say the checks are in the lockbox. Please go by and sign them.
the bills are on those.
Checks. Checks will be attached to the bills.
Okay, oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
And then if you'll come in and sign them, then I pick them up typically by Saturday afternoon or Sunday, and then mail them out. So these are for the ballot clerks and the supervisors of the checklist with their rates.
Do you have any idea what the election cost us? I'm curious. And say everybody was paid and everything was paid, you know how much to...
I'm only missing information on 2 people. Frequently what happens is it won't be on there yet, Rich, because I'm just paying them now. I could certainly tell you at the next meeting.
Sure, no,
The
I'm
only
just
thing I
curious.
have is 2 people at a couple hours each that I don't have information on yet.
No, but just the cost of running the election, that was a short one, because we started with 2.
It was. It'll definitely be in the next, when you get the next monthly statement, it'll be on there.
Right?
And you'll be missing about $150 on that number because the moderator.
Moderator
Paid.
and well, there's a number of people now that don't choose to be paid. The moderator and the assistant moderator, and a couple of the people that do the tally.
I should think of a letter for those guys.
Yes.
Ladies. The moderator, the
Assistant moderator.
assistant moderator.
I can give you the names.
Okay, and then we had some counters.
We did,
They're volunteered.
yes.
So we get a briefer one, but we'll send a fancy one to Dr. Marsh and Bob Russo. And just a general thank you to the counters. Okay.
You can email me the names.
I will.
All right.
You're gonna put a draft together?
Yeah, I'll do a draft and then you guys.
Super, thank you. We're going back to you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the treasurer?
No.
Okay. Tax collector? Town clerk? Administrative assistant?
The only thing I have is Avatar's been in town Thursday, Friday, I guess yesterday and today.
Mhm.
And it was posted on the website and everything, so everybody would know.
Good.
And that's it.
Agricultural commission? Cemetery trustees? Code enforcement officer?
Pretty quiet.
Road agent, how about that person?
It's getting quieter.
Bank heads?
We had, as I called at least two of you about the Tibbet's Hill, we had to go back up there again, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna go up there again. It's pretty muddy up there. So, and then obviously I posted the roads. I guess we haven't had a meeting since then, but posted the weight limits, some in mud, pass at your own risk. Other than that, things have been pretty quiet. I'd like to probably start taking down some of the trees we had marked last fall that are dead alongside the road that will need to be coming down.
When you present your hours, could you put which days they are?
I generally do on there. Like a snowstorm, I group days when I'm doing the same thing for consecutive days. And do you want me to break down each
If you
and
just
every
put
day?
each day, right? Makes no difference, but you just put down Tuesday, lemon tree, whatever, boom,
Yep.
so we have an idea of some of these.
Yep.
Okay, other questions?
Yep. Tibbet's Hill, is this typical? Or just-
No, not as, it does get a little muddy, but there are, both of the houses on the end of Burwell are rented with younger, I don't know if they're younger kids in a family or young adults. The traffic increase up there has been pretty busy for that road.
Is there anything we can do to help next year? More trenching?
Yeah, we can, more heavy gravel, like we did the hill. And you were involved, but you remember we did the hill. I don't know, we spent quite a bit up there. We took that hill because there was so much ledge sticking up and a real severe crown to it, and we built that whole hill up. And that's held up quite well for, I don't know, that was quite a few years
I
ago.
was going to say, 10 years, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it wasn't that long, but we, so we could do that to that upper section. But it's still a long way. If you go from the crest of the steep hill all the way to the house, that's a long way, but we could do some of it, work at it.
I'm sure it's in your budget. Conservation Commission. Emergency management. Forest
We had a
fire.
meeting.
Oh, that's right.
We
Forgot about
finished
that.
up the hazard mitigation session last week. I forget what day it was. Monday? It was Monday? So now that document is going to go into a draft form and share with us in a couple of 3 months.
Did you have a good turnout of people?
Yes,
helped
we
out?
had about 12 people here.
Wonderful. It's a very interesting process to see a woman, how she maneuvers all this information around. She does it for a whole bunch of towns, but it's just marvel watching her and the information they have on the town that they have for us to look at. And, you're looking about wetlands, and all of a sudden she does her magic with Google or whatever she uses, and she zeroes right in, and she knows her stuff, that's for sure. So it's been very helpful. Okay, forest fire warden. Permits still needed?
No, snow's still on the ground. As long as we have snow, we're okay.
Heritage Commission.
I have one nomination. The Heritage Commission would like to appoint Marilou Maclean to continue as a member of the commission, and my new term would expire in 2016 then. So,
Do we have to approve you?
yes, you certainly do.
Now we're having a motion.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Marilou for another 3-year term. Is that what it is, 3-year term?
Yep.
As the selectman representative, I will second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, congratulations.
Thank you.
Joint loss, we're still not worried about that
The
one.
second.
Jessica, the joint loss is done,
7 o'clock.
we're cleared.
So
I think to wrap that up, we should get a letter to the people in Concord saying it's our understanding that we don't have to do this any longer.
Okay,
And if they don't agree, get back to us.
so puts it on them.
Yes.
Good thought.
Okay,
Great.
so we can work together on that?
Yeah.
Planning board. Anybody speaking?
Nothing new to report. Next meeting is April 8th.
April 8th, okay. Website,
Well, I'm sorry, the one thing, we did have a very brief meeting on the night of the election to certify the FEMA amendment, so that got sent off. We had to certify that and then get that sent off for the floodplain stuff. I think our next meeting is the second Monday, is that right? Second Monday of next month. And that'll be our first meeting since the election, so we'll do our reorganization and that stuff.
okay.
Yeah, and along those lines, would you, Jessica, mail out this new spreadsheet to all the committees?
Mm-hmm.
And ask that the selectmen reps get put on the email list, so if there's a meeting, we know about it, and we don't have, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that if they approve any alternates or anything, that an updated list should come back to you.
Right, okay.
Website statistics, that's not until April. Other boards and committees. Old business, the townhouse. Well, the issue with the townhouse is we've gotten information, maybe we want to go over there for a quick walking tour. They came in, and Rich was good enough to open the door for them. And what are some of the discoveries under the carpet and all that?
Yes. Well, if we walk through, the bathrooms have been completely gutted. There was a little bit of mold in the women's lavatory that I believe has been corrected. They measured water under the floor in the meeting room with their humidity equipment. They're concerned and they don't know whether that floor will cup or not. They say we should wait until the weather warms up and see if it starts to cup. If it starts to cup, we've got a couple of options. We could try to sand it to bring it down. There may be mold under it, but as long as we don't disturb it, we can leave it be. So he cautioned us to be careful with what we want to do there. There was some water in the front foyer. That rug's been pulled up, and we found the hardwood floor under that. I misunderstood the process that the insurance company is going to follow with respect to funding the repairs. I thought they were going to manage the entire job. That was incorrect. They came in, the assessor, the insurance adjuster came in, sized the job to bring it back to where it was. They will detail out that work to us in a couple of weeks to the board and give us a check to cover that work. If we want to do more, that's on us. If we don't agree with their numbers, we can challenge their number. If we get a tradesman in there and he said, no, you missed something, it's going to cost this much, we can go back and challenge him. So we expect that check and a write-up of what has to be done in a few weeks.
Now, you have 2 years to wait.
Yep. We have 2 years to file any additional claims. If we find additional damage, the claim is open for 2 years.
Okay. Now, some of the issues that we face, since we need to start putting things back together again, do we make adjustments at this time to that building? For example, do we put down another carpet over the wood flooring there? Do we leave take the carpet up, put a floating floor over that, so at some point when the whole thing is done, they can do it all at once? You can always pull the subfloor, the floating type floor, pull it up. when you want to do something with the good floor underneath. All options. The bathroom, do we fix the bathroom as it is? That's the cheapest. Or do we think ahead and all the things that we've been talking about, start rearranging things? And that's an issue that we have to address sooner than later. So, any thoughts? Do you need to go over and look at it tonight? You can adjourn?
Been over there.
Okay.
It'd be an expenditure that we need estimates for, especially with regards to the bathrooms. I think, I think clearly you want carpet in the entryway to get that recarpeted. It makes sense. Catches the dirt from our whole floors. But I think the bathrooms, you start moving around bathrooms, it's going to get very costly very quick. And I don't quite know if we want to take on that expenditure.
Okay. One of our long-term thoughts, not that we're going to do it necessarily, was take the 2 bathrooms out, have 1 bathroom new, and also put a shower in there because it is an emergency shelter. What that would cost, I have no idea. You had a different idea, Mr. Zacher.
Yes, when we used to have these challenges, when I was working, we'd sit back and say, when we're all done with the job, what does it look like? That's where we're going. And once we can agree on where we're going, then we can put together a number of plans that get us there. So I think one of the first challenges we have is, what is this going to look like when we're done? And then can we afford getting there, or how do we get there, or what are the steps to get there? But I think one of our first steps would be to, as a town, to agree with the final look of what this is going to look like.
And you did a survey, correct? How many responded to your survey?
Results.
You remember, roughly?
There were about 60 people that stopped and talked with Eddie, and there were another over 50 surveys that came back. But we didn't deal with the issue of the bathrooms. I know on the original site survey that was done by Salmon Falls Architecture, we did ask that a handicap bathroom be added to the facility. Their thought at that time was that the current men's bathroom, the wall into the schoolhouse would be poked out, and that would be the new handicap bathroom. I don't know that I agree with that, because those are the pipes closest to the outside that always have frozen in the past. So I'm not sure that I think that's the best idea. I think what I would like to propose, and the Heritage Commission did talk about it at their last meeting, is to really take a look at, could the back room where the water heater and all of that is be made, would it be large enough to be turned into a handicap bathroom, or could that plus the women's restroom be turned into a handicap bathroom? And possibly things go into the men's bathroom, or the men's bathroom be used for storage. I think what I would like to see is that we have possibly a special meeting or something, just even a public meeting of people that are interested and have an opinion, and see if we can get some ideas. I haven't been able to walk back in there to see if the area in back where the water heater and all the stuff is large enough for a handicap bathroom. I did download a bunch of stuff from the state ADA requirements, but we also have to keep in mind we're somewhat protected because it is a historic building.
Is the schoolhouse historic as well?
The schoolhouse is historic, but it's not on the historic register. But since it's an 1801 building, it is protected somewhat under those. Also, I was at a New Hampshire Preservation Alliance conference on Friday for the day, and one of the people at the Alliance is a Maggie Steer who has been through the townhouse. Her mother actually taught at Churchill School, either her mother or her grandmother, so she's always been very interested in the town. She did tell me on Friday that they have special funds and people that will come out and help us try and assess is what Salmon Falls said really the best for us at this point, since the circumstances have changed, or would there be a better way for us to go?
Devil's advocate question.
Sure.
If you bring them in, does that open doors that you don't want opened? For example, we may be able to be very happy with our handicap ramp as it is. If they find it a half an inch off, we may have to replace it. Could we get ourselves into one of those situations?
No, I think I would only bring them in to deal with the bathroom issue. And, you know, what could we do with them?
Based on one of the residents' comments, would you like to, you made some suggestions. Eddie, I don't remember why we were in there.
I don't remember why we were there.
We had to take something out. I don't remember what we were doing.
But my thought was very similar, Marilou, that utility room is an ideal spot for a shower handicap bathroom.
Yeah.
And you could, it's an expense, but it's a prime opportunity to update the furnaces, go to one furnace, there's no need to have two furnaces in that building, and go to on-demand hot water heaters and move those utilities into the existing bathrooms and turning that utility room into a unisex handicap bathroom.
Yeah.
Now, we did try to have Ron Lasty, is it Lasty or Last? Pardon? Last. We tried to get a hold of him the other day, and all of a sudden he wasn't available when we thought, and he was able to meet this morning. So I sent an email to people, and it wasn't a meeting or anything, for him to take a look at the situation and what his suggestions might be. Now, we're understanding that this would go out to bid if we do something, but just to get some input from him. Rich, you want to fill in some of the things he said?
Well, he suggested that we go to high-efficiency propane. Hanging on the wall takes no space. He suggested that if we could find something that looked good, some sort of baseboard heating in the great room that would go down both sides, it would do a better job, and it would be more efficient. Could put a zone on for the schoolhouse. Domestic hot water would come off the same facility. He was pushing that direction. He says, if you want to keep the cost down, make what we have today work.
Right.
So, I mean, he could do that also.
He felt the new hot LP moved to a different location, hot air, but that would get very expensive with the piping.
The payback was going to hot water, baseboard hot water, with a little bit of glycol in it, so if it ever failed, it wouldn't freeze and pop.
So he would put hot water baseboard heaters in the great room?
Correct. You know where those pipes, well, it's a trade-off. You know where you have the pipes running down the wall?
Yeah,
Would you rather have those pipes that everybody sees or some type of baseboard heating?
On both sides.
On both sides. That could be boxed in or something.
Yeah.
Maybe paint it the right color.
That's what they did at the Congregational Church, was we redid that. But at the same, no, that was for the fire sprinkler system.
But there's a lot of options. Again, he says, where do you want to go? How much do you want to spend? You know, and he's going to come back to us, I believe, with some ideas.
But he was. I'm going to say something. Yeah.
Marilou at the town meeting gave us a very nice synopsis of those reports, but if 60 people talked to Eddie and 50 people went to the trouble to write something out, it would be nice to have a synopsis of what they said. Something that
I can do that.
You know, these many people, you know.
I have the exact numbers, I just didn't.
But it would be nice if we,
sure,
the selectmen, everybody had a copy of that information so we know what all these people had to say.
I think I wrote a synopsis and then I read the two people that really took more time than most were Bill Gaver and Craig Evans. And Ernie wrote an email, and so it would be important probably to include those as well. And I'm happy to do it. But for the most part, everyone agreed with what I said. This, you know, the whole scenario was that they would like to see it kept, they'd like to see it kept where it was, where it is, and that they would like to see it turned into a type of a Brookfield museum similar to the Little Red Schoolhouse in Wakefield. The only thing I will tell you is that at this preservation conference on Friday, the whole theme of it was get rid of your little museums because they're not working for people. And see what else you can do with the building if you have one that is currently a little museum or you're thinking of putting a little museum in. So at the end of the day, I was ready to just shoot myself in the head and say, okay, now what do we do? But, you know, it's an interesting proposition. But yes, a lot of people, I did write up a synopsis and gave it to the selectmen, so I'd be happy to provide that in writing to you. And actually, I could put it on the website as well.
We also talked to Ron about what do we do to make it operational.
Yep.
We put one toilet in, one sink in right now. And he pushed back on us a little bit and said, unlock the door and use this one. There's no rush to do that.
Yep.
So, I mean...
Still August, maybe.
Yes. So, you know, we don't have to get it operational next month or in May. We
That's
have
right.
a little time.
Right.
And we have the time, but I think we need to move forward on this.
Absolutely.
The plan.
I just hear, I hear money flying out the door on for a historic building that serves no general purpose. I think artifacts from the building can be preserved, and I think the building is nothing short of an anchor on the overall building. The idea of rehabbing the bathrooms into more usable formats it's a worthy cause, but it'd be a worthy cause that would be a hefty drain on our cash that we desperately want to keep in our pockets. So I'm just more of the opinion of putting it back the way it was and continue to assess the schoolhouse as what we should do with it. And from what you've heard, there's also the school of thought that it's sometimes time to fish or cut bait. I'm more of the cut bait person here on that whole project.
Well, we need to get, obviously, input from everybody.
Absolutely.
I think if we finally have a meeting, I would suggest we do a mailing to everybody, let them know how
Sure.
important it is.
Yep.
Say, this is it, decisions are going to be made, and we need you to come, not a formal town meeting, but everybody's been told. It's time to put up, if they're going to get rid of it, or they're going to do this and that. This is the time. Yes?
I think what everybody would more be interested in is, what's it gonna cost?
Right.
Right now, you have money coming from the insurance company to put it back the way it was, correct?
Yes.
So it would be usable. You're talking about upgrading this and this and this. I haven't heard any dollar amounts.
Right, we didn't ask anybody for any.
And that's
Well,
going to be a huge...
My thought is to maybe we should go at it in 3 different ways. I know you at one point suggested moving it to another location. Are you still with that possibility?
What's the vision for that schoolhouse? Some people say they'd like to have a little meeting room back there, some heat.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, but if you do that, I mean, you got a great foundation. You could put a nice, efficient building back there with a handicap bathroom, a nice kitchen, insulate it well, and make it a very usable facility, capitalizing on the foundation. If we wanted to go that way and take that building and put it, so that's an option. There's all kinds of options. Just where do we want to go? It might be cheaper to do that than try to renovate the schoolhouse.
Suggestions. Eddie, your experience, oh, I'm sorry. Ed?
What you could do is, since we only use it basically seasonally, just winterize the building. Don't heat it anymore and just use it seasonally. That way, if you added up how much money we're spending on heat and water and maintenance, if you just winterize it.
Well, we have some pluses and minuses on that.
That was discussed also.
Yeah.
When you say winterize, just the schoolhouse or the whole building?
The whole building.
But isn't that our quote-unquote emergency shelter? Would we be able to get it up and going in the event of a major ice storm? It's part of the FEMA plan that is our go-to place with cots and so on.
Good
so
point.
Winterization might be, unless we could do a quick turnaround and get it up and going, then maybe that wouldn't work.
Well, if we had the on-demand water heaters,
Right.
you could still keep the heat off. The propane would work in that point. Now, how it would be heated, I don't know, maybe, how would it be heated before, the wood stove? Is that how it was originally?
Mm-hmm. Or you brought your little book heater.
The amount that we're using for oil over there, it's pretty hefty.
Wait. speaking of that,
Go ahead.
we're down to, which one's oil? Heating costs, that's propane, this is oil. So far, we've used, and I have another notice tonight, we've used all but 153 gallons. So of the $3,477.52 we prepaid, we're down to $522.14 left. And here's another fill.
And we didn't heat it for 1 month.
We certainly didn't. Well, they didn't, we tried.
Yeah.
There was another thing, Ron, couple questions we asked, what would it do to the plaster in the other room if it wasn't heated?
This
I've
is
heard people
52, so
concerned with that, and his
100.
concern came mold, that not heating
Yeah.
it would create a mold issue. So that was his concern. So, and he was also concerned that the heating system that we have with the pipes, some of the ductwork and everything going under the building, the air going back and forth, that wasn't the most efficient. So if we keep spending $3,000, would we in 5 years pay, I don't know, I'm making that number, pay for a new heating system? That's something we need to consider. These are the decisions we have to, do we take it step by step? We're going to need a new heating system at some point anyway. Let's start with that. That might be step one. You can live with the rest. Now, the flooring, Eddie, you had some questions or had some thoughts on the floor thing because we can't use the flooring in the building. We can only have one person at a time.
For the schoolhouse?
Yes.
As I had mentioned last fall, I think it was.
Yes.
That you can put engineered lumber in there under the floor, bolt it through the existing floor joists, and you could bring that up to pretty strong floor. I don't have the load capacity in my head what it would be, but at that time I had done some calculations, and it would bring you back to better than its original strength.
So there's another thing to put out there.
Engineered lumber, meaning like those I-frame type?
What they call LVLs,
Yeah.
laminated veneer lumber.
Right.
And it's where it's like it's an 1.8" thick plywood.
Okay.
And they rip them at certain,
Can that take the dampness since it's not on the foundation as such?
I think you'll find, with the exception of the leak that we had, that crawl space has been very dry. With the poly in the stone, no, that's just poly, but typically I put stone on top of the poly. But, yeah, I don't think, yes, it will. The answer to your question is yes.
Okay. So there's another thing to put in our thing. So where do we go?
Did we just put a new oil tank under there as well?
Yes.
Suggestion made this morning was that we could reuse that tank for off-road diesel. If we wanted to recapture the equipment and buy off-road diesel, I just was thrown out this morning for the road department.
We could sell.
Oh, we can sell it, right?
Yeah. He said most people now are switching over to LP gas. It's much more efficient. And that's mostly everything he's been putting in. Now, somebody in plumber type person may, more than he might disagree, and somebody pushing oil. So we need to make some progress. So what are we going to do? We're going to get potential prices on this? I mean, you have a good point. We could be just throwing it down the drain.
It's hard to get prices if you don't know what you want to do.
Right.
You gotta, I like Rich's idea, decide the end result first, decide the method to get there, and then you put the price to it, and then you decide whether you can do it.
Seems reasonable. And we could always do it in stages.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So would you turn it over to the Historical Society, go from here, or what do you want us to go from here, or work together?
So I think we need to work together, would be my thought.
Do we need a joint meeting?
Sure.
On a Saturday, you're suggesting, or, I mean, we want participation, or?
No, I'm just thinking the two groups and
Oh,
have an open meeting.
to start with that?
Just start with that.
Okay, and then see where we want to go.
Seem reasonable, and then we'll open it up, decide who we're inviting, and we'll invite everybody in the town.
Well, then we're going to do it.
Yeah.
How are we
Can I
going to do
suggest
the
we have
meeting?
the meeting in there?
Right?
Can I
In the
suggest we
townhouse?
have the meeting in the
Oh,
town?
sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's,
We can walk
We can
around
go
and see.
back in.
Can we turn the heat on?
Oh, yeah, we got lots of oil now.
You're like 100 gallons.
So we'll have some options then, or at least we'll get some idea, then we'll get the public input. And maybe we
Yes.
can break into groups, one exploring one thing, one exploring the other.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
All right. Good idea. All right.
All right, who's gonna?
I would prefer a Tuesday since we're
Ron.
locked on Tuesdays, but I don't, Brian, I don't know what
Rob
you're.
has a
Tuesday's
question.
fine.
Just a specific question about the floor in the great hall. Let's say it doesn't cut. And 5 years from now, we decide we need to, it's worn down, we need to replace it. And we open, and we pull it up and there's mold under there. Is that a ticking time bomb that all of a sudden we're gonna have hazmat issue? Or, and that we're not gonna find out about for 5 or 10 years?
It's an excellent
Or-
question. It's an excellent question. If we find mold, we have to deal with it.
Yeah, my question is, I do software, I don't do mold. Is that a big deal? Is it a big deal if we find mold under there?
It's just more expensive.
No? Okay, so I shouldn't worry about, we just have to pull out the plywood and take it to the
There's no
transfer station.
plywood under the floors.
Okay, whatever.
What do you think's under there, spruce?
Boards.
Board, just boards?
Pine boards.
Yeah, and there's a vapor barrier there.
Where?
Under the townhouse as well?
Yes.
That was just under the schoolhouse.
I believe it's under the townhouse as well.
Oh, on the dirt, and, I don't know if it's under the townhouse or not.
Is there a vapor barrier between the floors?
No, he's talking on the.
You're on the dirt.
On the crawl space.
Yeah, we talked about it, but I don't know if it ever,
No, I think we did it.
was the problem getting the right people in here because it's so low.
It was John Dansero.
Yeah, but I thought you just did under the, I can go back and look, I have the spreadsheet on it.
And there was some question about what's in that floor. And does anyone know what's in the, I mean, what's under the maple? Is there a vapor barrier? Is there sheet, is
Well,
there?
they typically in that time period, there was building, what they call building paper.
Yes.
Yeah, there would be roughs on boards, building paper, and then the flooring.
And when,
Given that age, that 20% of that building paper is gone.
Well, then it would breathe.
When was that floor done?
I don't know exactly, but I'm.
well, no, the building was done in 1823, but not finished then. It was Victorianized, which I would almost imagine that would be when it was done in 1870, but that floor may be later than
It's
that.
probably later than that. Imagine the original floorboards were just white pine boards.
Right.
Because the adjuster questioned how many times it's been sanded.
So when the planning board went in there after or during their last meeting, Gary Ciccarone took a knife and said there wasn't much of the floor of the maple left. He felt it had been sanded a minimum of 2 times, possibly 3.
Yeah, you said a 16th of an inch.
And that's what the adjuster says, you get 3 sandings, and then you have to replace the floor. And he couldn't tell how much was left.
So Gary took a knife and
Good idea.
did something.
He stuck it between, and he found a wider crack, stuck it
down?
down
Yeah.
there to
Does
see
it
how
tongue?
deep the tongue was. Right, and he said a 16th, at the spot that he checked.
I know we had it done once, right, Ernie, the sanding?
Yes, we did, about 12, 15 years ago.
All right, so we might be
There's
looking
one-
at a floor,
Right, and that could be,
another 10,000.
right, we could just put this in and like, we'll be robbing banks or something, I don't know, maybe we'll put something in your.
We get the insurance company.
Well, I'll be writing grants.
All right, can you guys meet on a Tuesday? I don't know if your committee can, let's pick a date. Obviously, the public is invited. This is more of a planning session than anything else. Oof, it's April. The second?
Sure.
Tuesdays are good.
Time, you want to go at 7 or you want to go at 6:30? Marilou, for your
Let's
group.
do 7. Tuesday, 4, 2, 12, 13, 7 p.m.
Jessica, can you warn that on the joint meeting?
Yeah.
Planning purposes or, just, okay.
Okay.
Other issues that we need to address?
I've got, in my mailbox, I had some
Okay.
some reports that had to be filed or mailed with the state, an MS9.
We should already keep copies of all of these in that
Yep.
file.
I just want to make sure everybody knows we have these. This is an MS60 from the Town Audit Committee. They have 2 copies, I guess 1 copy's for us, and 1 copy's to be filed with the state.
Yes.
So I'll give you the package, Jessica.
So I'm mailing tomorrow. One of us can mail tomorrow and mail them all.
Okay.
Because I've got the 2 and the 5 here.
And they're gonna sign it after the meeting, right?
Yes.
And I have a report of the Trust and Capital Reserve Funds from the Trustee Committee. I don't know what happens, it's an MS9. Does that get filed also?
Yes.
Let's look at our cheat sheet. March 1st.
So just make sure we have a copy in our little book we keep with the form, so we can always look back at what we had the previous year. All righty, any other old business?
Oh, sorry.
New business?
I think Brian and I are going to a conference on April 10th, that introductory conference you took me to last year. We're going to go to Molten Borough.
Good.
If you want to,
What day?
Wednesday the 10th.
Well, the legislature will probably be in session.
And the only other thing I had was the Dunn's communication.
Oh, we don't have one.
And
Sorry.
yes, I understand that, but we got a letter, certified letter, talking about a potential grant for snow removal that we have to use a number on. That's where they're coming from.
There's a couple in here.
We can't use any other number? I'll apply for one.
Well, I guess it's easy to do.
It is easy to.
On March 19th, 2013, President Barack Obama declared a major disaster for the state of New Hampshire due to the severe winter storm and snowstorm event of the 8th and 10th. The major disaster declaration for public assistance program has designated applicants in Belknap, Carroll, Cheshire, eligible to receive federal assistance. If we want to get that, we have to send someone, an agent, they suggest the road agent, to one of these sessions to help fill a form out. We can go to Dover or we can go to Conway. And I'd be glad to go with you.
Several questions I would ask is, first, do you want to get it? And how much of it are you going to get?
And why a DUNS number?
Because
That makes no
that's
sense.
how they track it now. They put all the grants against the DUNS number.
Okay, that makes no sense. When I went to the Dun & Bradstreet for this state, there's only 3 towns that have a Dun & Bradstreet number.
I've been getting email and phone calls saying then I forwarded them to you, that individual to you. He came back to me with more email and said, you really need it if you're going to get any grant money.
No.
Yes, I will send you the email. I sent it to my friends here.
How much money is involved? Anything you know?
And I don't know. I don't understand.
Storm-related expenses.
To that one storm?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
I could go back and look at the
You'd have to
bills.
go back and.
How much are we over our budget this year? Did that storm put us over budget?
No, because it was last year, wasn't it last year?
It was this February. the storm was February.
Yeah,
Well,
so.
Well, I guess.
It all depends on what the second half of our plow season's gonna be, which is next fall. So.
I was here in town during that period of time, and I didn't see a major disaster.
Well, we understand that, but they're saying it is. The president said it was.
Well, I think he's wrong.
No.
I mean, how could you, if this were free money, I'd say, yeah, let's take it. It's not free money, it's money that doesn't exist, it's being borrowed.
That's why I asked.
I'm just one guy, and I want low taxes, and I appreciate, like, trying to save the $350 on the books. I really appreciate that mindset of trying to save the money and reduce our taxes, but this money is not really free. And
I can understand where you're coming from, but we could have somebody else coming and say, hey, we could get $8,000 to help our taxes because of that.
I understand, it's a philosophical argument, not like some save me money argument.
I didn't think you'd want to make a
I
comment.
can't help myself.
We got another one for you.
How can we even have this conversation? The federal government has got us at the $16.8 trillion. They're borrowing 40+ cents on every dollar from China, and we're going to take it to plow our roads. That's shameful. If we can't take care of ourselves, we might as well just call it quits. Thank you, that was my comment.
Thank you, Ed.
I guess we could try to quantify, how much do you think we spent? Does anyone know what we spent on the storm? Some number.
On that one storm?
Yes,
I can,
pick a number.
$4,000.
So-
$4,200.
So that's the most we're going to get back is what we spent. Right, I would think they're not going to give you
It's
more.
the federal government. You could probably get $50,000.
Yeah,
Well, see,
It's a major disaster.
That's a different argument. $50,000 is,
It's a major disaster. I would ask that the selectmen write a letter to the president and tell him what Ed said.
There may be,
I'll write the letter.
there may be a time that we do need their money, so we don't want to burn any bridges.
But why would, if we want it, why wouldn't we save it for when we really need it?
Because they're going to give it to you then. I know, I understand what you're saying.
I don't think there's ever going to be a time when we really need it.
It's vacation in Mexico.
it's just an opportunity, and I understand it. I'm not arguing. It's just an opportunity to help the tax rate.
But it doesn't help the tax rate.
It helps the local one. It doesn't help.
But it doesn't, I don't care. It's still money that's being,
You don't
my
care,
money that's being
but
spent.
there may be somebody else who does care.
Well,
That's what we have to win.
If you
But the
take a
misguided-
straw poll of this crowd,
Oh, no.
because I agree, there's no reason to go after this money at all.
Just because you could, it doesn't mean you
Well, because as of the town budget, right now, we have a balance for road agent snow removal of 27.2, in materials almost 13 grand, which is respectively 49%, 86%. We're not running hot.
It all averages.
In all reality, we're in the end of March now. We're not gonna burn through, if we get snow once more. I'm with you guys, and it's more, I guess, of a philosophical thing, but I don't wanna touch that money. I don't wanna, it's.
It ain't free.
Oh, I realize there's no such thing as a free one. I don't think the storm was that big a deal.
It's not New Hampshire.
But on the other hand,
For us, it
we've
was.
had some.
It really was, for us, it was, because I panicked, I had extra help, everybody, it was all, but by storm, it was huge for us. But over the course of the season, look at how little I plowed, it's a different budget, but how little I plowed in the fall.
absolutely.
And, so in a cyclical budget, we're gonna be just fine,
Well,
if you guys don't touch it.
based upon the input, I'll say pass. Let it go.
Okay, we'll pass.
I appreciate that. We can just not take the money, right, and be silent about why we're doing that. We also, I would still advocate that we make the statement of, that to somebody, that we philosophically don't think this is the right way to move money around and to be borrowing money and paying for plowing for a storm, right? There's not.
Well, I have an issue with that because we could run into a situation where there is something that we would need help for, and why burn a bridge? That we get put into a system where you're the last one they come to. That's my only, that's personal.
I think that if it was a storm, it wasn't a major disaster. If every time there's a storm, we say there's a major disaster, then we're basically just saying, this is just a way we're going to funnel money around and ingratiate the federal government into your daily lives.
This is the first time they've done it in something that's not as dramatic as this. We have to watch out on the bridges.
That would be my point. What do we get, 20 inches of snow? That's no.
If all the roads were washed out and all that type of thing, you might,
Unfortunately, we still got the work.
What's that?
Unfortunately, we can still get the work.
Yeah. Fortunately, I work from home, so I don't have to go outside.
Next time if you get 20 inches, just tell me to stay home and I'll take care of it afterwards. It'll save you money.
all right, we'll just file that somewhere and we'll just not send anything in.
So I will not be fighting for a DUNS number at this point.
And I will respond to the email saying that we're going to pass. On the DUNS number and the grant
Okay, at this time.
at this time. Thank you for the offer.
And this one is even going to make Ed happy. This is in regards to New Hampshire Emergency Notification System, New Hampshire ENS, excuse me. And well, quickly glancing at this, they want to know a lot about us. It's very complicated. GPS system and everything else is going to be involved, so they know where you are located. You want geographic base information system, GIS notifications, you're notifying the local government appointing authority of the availability of the NES. It will cost your community nothing to sign up and participate. You only need to give us the name and contact information of 1 or 2 local officials who wish to grant access to the system and have issue notifications to the public on behalf of your city or town. Well, that doesn't sound too good. But I think we need to read this over in detail, the fine print that's out here.
Table out.
Well, that would be worth us reading, but we don't need to do it tonight.
Can we make copies of that? So I can...
Sure. Why don't you make us all copies and one for Ed, please?
Or anybody else
Anybody else?
would like a copy?
Ernie, would like one? Anybody else?
I like to read.
All right, maybe we're going to
Hey, that.
Taxes are going up, we may need that extra money for these copies. All right, do we have any, starting the meetings, does 6:30 still work, or do we need to make an adjustment in times?
I'm okay.
Okay. Coverage by the selectmen, that became an issue. I believe you said in your thing that you wanted to do it on Saturdays?
I would like to move all my proposed dates of coverage, which in the calendar is reflected as new. I'd like to move my dates to Saturday. It's typically 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours, that's correct. Okay.
Yeah, so I would be here in the morning,
Okay.
Saturday mornings.
Would it be, go ahead.
I've been here a lot of Fridays, and they've been pretty slow. So I think maybe I'd like to move to Saturday also.
Okay.
Maybe not for 4 hours, but I could see what goes with 9, 11, 10 to 12.
But we originally moved to having Fridays so the building would be open and somebody would be here. There was
Yes.
a big concern that the building was only open 1 day a week or 1.5 days. And that was the reason things were rearranged to answer that concern of the residents. But I understand, especially coffee hour and everything else. So I think we need to make some considerations of adjusting everything, and we don't have to do it tonight.
But Jessica's here on Fridays now. So I find I'm here.
Originally, she wasn't
That's
only
right.
here the off weeks.
That's right, I understand that.
Okay.
So I find myself here when Jessica's here, wait for someone to come in, and only at tax bill time do we have any discussion.
Our original time, she's only come in 2 weeks, and we came in the other day. So maybe we need to look at that all lumped together and decide what we're going to do. Saturdays mixed on personally, but I think if we go to Saturdays, for the sake of argument, you're the only one. I think it would be better saying the last Saturday of the month or the first Saturday or something that would be more consistent than a floating Saturday.
Yeah, that would make sense.
The second and fourth Saturday or something like that. Just a thought. But we can discuss that next week or next 2 weeks from now. Sure. Any other business? Any comments? Yes, sir.
Carroll County is having their regularly scheduled commissioners meeting tomorrow, 8:30 a.m.
Anything exciting happening?
No. Oh, also, Representative Nelson, can we have a quick report of how much our county taxes may go up this year?
They are saying it's going to go up about 2.5%. That's the estimate. It's coming down 20,000 more. We're having a special meeting. I think they're going to hold it in Concord while we're down there because somebody found a $20,000 error, and so it's coming down $20,000. So from what I can gather, the delegation is quickly meeting tomorrow just to lower the tax number by $20,000. I just got a thing from Umberger saying that we're going to meet. I didn't get the time. We're going to meet on Wednesday. Since we're in Concord on Wednesday, I'm assuming we're meeting in Concord on Wednesday during lunch or something. And from what I can gather in the brief email, it's just going to be very quick.
Is that the 3rd of April?
No, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Now, she didn't give a specific date. She said Wednesday, and I didn't even get it. Tom Lavager received it. She said, I'm missing something. It was me. And Tom passed it on to me.
So we're talking about 10 to between 10 and 12 million dollars up from
Yes.
last year?
So the increase is approximately 2%, and it's, each department put in their budgets. Some of them, not great amounts, were cut back. You know, the prison wanted their thing, somebody wanted something paved and all that, so it was pared back the best that they felt. But they also felt there were some expenses warranted, like a new nursing home and different types of things that they put in there. And it was, you were at the meeting, it was a very interesting meeting as we tried to come up with a usable budget, and that's what we came up with, about 2.5% would be the increase.
So the county so Brookfield basically pays a little over 100,000?
Yes, about 107, I think, last year.
So
Thank you.
I imagine we'll have a few cents extra thrown on it. Yes?
So related to the county, and being on the delegation is why I'm bringing this up. Ed, I think, pointed out an RSA that allows the delegation to help the commissioners by being able to investigate. And
I received that email.
so I'm not sure, I assume you're aware, but I'll remind you. Over the last couple of years, there's been a couple instances where there's been grievances against the commissioners themselves.
Mhm.
Not grievances that they are helping to adjudicate, but grievances against them directly. And they've been in a situation where they are deciding, they're judging their
They're being the commissioners?
Yeah, the commissioners are judging themselves, right, which is completely unethical. I mean, it's just not the way that government should be run. Now, I'm not saying that they, aside from that particular aspect, I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm not saying that I have any information that there's a huge problem there. It's just that they're put in a tough position if they can't rely on you guys to help investigate those cases where they have a conflict of interest. So in one case, it was Commissioner Kenny who had a grievance against her, and all three commissioners apparently have been involved. All three have been involved in voting on the outcome of that and voting on whether to release the investigation and so on. Obviously, Commissioner Kenny has a conflict of interest that she probably, if she were going to behave completely ethically, would recuse herself from those situations. And then Commissioner Solomon and Commissioner Sorensen had a grievance against them, and as far as I can tell, nobody knows what happened to it. It went away.
Mhm.
I would feel better if you guys could be involved in those situations. I'm not sure about retroactively, but certainly going forward, have some way of getting involved in taking it out of their hands in a situation where they have an inherent conflict of interest, since they've not shown the propensity to, ask for help on their own. You guys are in a position where you provide oversight and you have the responsibility to us to make sure that the county is being run properly.
I think they've gotten the attorney involved in some of this, the state's attorney, county attorney has been involved in some of their stuff that they've been doing, but.
Actually, they hired out their own attorneys. So they didn't vote on what was going on with them, but they did actually they had lawyers to do it. But that could save the county money if we would go through the delegation first to see if it's even a valid complaint, to then make you guys the authorizing agents to let it go forward to a lawyer.
Would you remind me at our next delegation meeting? I'll bring it up. Just, you can bring it up, whatever, and we'll see if you can come to the meeting and address it then.
Day job, but yeah, I mean, I know I can't. I'm just.
No, that's fine. No,
so
that's it.
I think that, like I said, I don't have any axe to grind with any of the commissioners in particular. I don't know that they did anything wrong aside from
No,
not
it's
asking
not a
for
problem.
help.
It's not a problem at all. So that's good. And you double remind me if I forget, okay? Because it gets, as they're trying to get this budget stuff. Nothing else comes up. Anything else? We've got some mail to go through. And yes.
Is the townhouse usable now? Have the repairs been made?
Except for a bathroom. It's got heat.
Got heat, it's got
No
water in the
bathroom,
kitchen.
yeah, kitchen,
in the
water
kitchen.
works, no toilet.
No sink, no lavatory.
Is the selectmen's breakfast still on for the 24th?
No. We canceled that, right?
We
No, oh, the
canceled
April
it.
one. We canceled the other.
Right. The April one was still,
April 24th.
that was a conservation. The selectmen were doing the breakfast.
24th?
I also had a request for the townhouse, and I
Are you gonna be,
needed to talk to you about that for July, Kingswood Lake.
There is money to fix those things once you decide on a plan.
Right. What was our date for the breakfast? Oh, I have it on here, 27th. I have the 27th.
27th.
Put on the breakfast. I think if the other groups meet, I think we have a problem leaving this building open. If we're meeting over there, that's not an issue. But if we're just gonna leave the meeting, say some group wants to use that building, to leave this unlocked, I think we have a problem. Now, you're in the lake group, correct?
Yeah, but I think you've got a good policy. I think we should wait before we let anyone use the building until we see where we are with our repairs. So we can get back to that group and say, let's wait a little bit,
Okay,
because I think we should have a consistent policy, right? This is,
right. Sounds good. So the breakfast, we're here. We'll leave it open. I don't have a problem. Right? You want to postpone it?
No, I think it's fine.
You're okay?
we took the tarps down today on the doors.
Mhm.
That's pretty messy back there. If we could use the front of the building and keep the focus there, I think we could do it.
Plus, I think we'd have to keep that area in the back cordoned off.
And it's pretty messy in the back.
The handicap, the only thing would be somebody coming with a handicap. No, so you go or don't go? I'm fine with it.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go with it.
Go with it.
Yeah, that's a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
We used to have an agenda item for the Governor Wentworth School District. Did we take that off the agenda permanently? And if we have somebody to give a report, can we put that back in since that's the major part of our tax bill?
since they're here, I think we took it out because we didn't have somebody here at the time, and it was removed for that reason, but if Ernie's gonna show up, we would appreciate putting it back in. Any reports?
That would be fine in the future. I haven't been to my first meeting yet.
Okay. So congratulations on getting back on. We're pleased to have you.
Going forward, I'd like to try to restructure our agenda, and along those lines, when would be a good time? We meet twice a month, Ernie. Would it be good to have you on the second meeting, or the first meeting, or?
Either the first or the second, but not both.
Okay, all right.
And generally, probably the first one, because we typically meet like the first Monday of the month.
That's what I was asking.
And so, right after we meet, I can come in here and I'd have some to report.
That sounds good. Yep. That makes good sense. And you may even bring your little notice that we get usually after their meetings. They arrive in the mail 2 days after they have their meeting, so that'll be good. Anything else? All right, we're off the mail.
Yeah, we have to meet him in.
Yeah, the minutes.
Oh, we have some things, oh, the minutes, and we have some paperwork to sign.
Can I take copies of this first
Sure.
so that people can read?
Are you going to read those?
Me?
Oh, I remember this one.
You can.
That one I
either fill
remember.
out
That one I remember.
Now, or,
I didn't bring my social credit card, so I'll need to bring that.
that's fine. So on this one, this is the
Where's
I-9,
that?
you just fill out this first page, and then I do the rest. This is a brand new form.
Yeah, we talked about
And that's the preparer translator, so you just do their
Yes.
signature employee.
Yeah, regular W form.
Taxpayers in town.
So I know like right now, well, I feel like.
Especially if they have an issue with you, that, you know, I don't know.
But you can also put.
So, you said, yeah, walk around.
Somebody else in black. That's why I'm asking about it. Let's push them out there.
These are avoiding them.
Somebody walks down open carry.
Larry, there's no voting rights. And listening to this discussion, I found some people are refusing payment. Others are refusing payment. tell you now that I feel that's what
Oh, you can't say these anymore.
Right.
All right.
Well, no, they didn't come up. It was on, one of them went home.
Well, I just wanted, you know, when the snow goes, they would walk around and see what that is.
All right, I remember the two, first two, this one.
Felt like I cut him off when he was talking about the RSA's. That's why I want to apologize to him. I thought I got cut Ernie off when he was talking about RSA's.
Whoever it was explained his rights. Well, I don't know. I'm sure that there's.
We're on, that thing's recording.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was on there.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you too?
Boy.
I had an hour.
I read it and I figured, oh, Ed worked me
Were you being mean or nice?
Okay, which one's the
Do you want a copy of that? No? Okay. I don't blame you, I don't either.
Somebody came up to me,
Any suggestions as we go along? Hesitate to
Feel my way on it.
You're pretty flexible.
One of the things that I noticed in one of the other towns was at the bottom, you know how, one thing I would say about an RSA, remember how Clifton always had to go to the book to see the exact, so they have at the bottom of their agenda, if the selectmen need to go into whatever, it will, you know, RSA, and they quote the RSA number and just have it in a box at the bottom of the agenda. I thought that was a
We're
good
going to put
idea.
them in the class, that's even a better idea if we have the room. Did you hear that, Jessica?
No, I didn't.
Oh, we
To have a little box at the bottom of their agenda that states the RSA where you go into non-public session.
Oh, have it on this?
Yes.
Yeah, they had me put it in the, see it? I was like, yes.
Oh, that's maybe something. Either way,
That's easy too.
Generally, we don't use it that often, it just happens.
there's a different wording that's in the handbook.
I was looking at it today, I couldn't find the right wording. We should get Ernie used to do it very well.
Ernie?
We should get him to email what he said to us.
Right. All right.
All right, 2 meetings, 3, what do we want to do, 22nd, 26th?
One order.
Yep.
I remember that as soon as I started to read them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you did
Yeah,
read
as soon as
them
I-
all, except for the last one.
Yes, that was the
That's
one
the
I-
only one.
Okay, we have a motion for February 26th.
I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes for February 26th as presented.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. March 2nd.
And I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from March 2nd as presented.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
And March 12th, meeting minutes, I make a motion we accept them as presented.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we review these in advance, so we're not just speed reading. These are emailed to us, and we have an opportunity to review them, so we know what's going to be presented. It's not like a case of speed reading.
The only one I didn't remember was the last one. Once I got into it, I said, oh yeah, I remember reading it.
High school class.
All right. Ooh, he's still doing his homework.
Can I talk to Ernie about him to email that to us?
Sure.
and some guy from Massachusetts came up and said,
Yeah.
something happened and he you may go to New Hampshire, right? And you want to go there, and they take the same thing walks out.
Matter of fact,
You may need this for you. I don't know if we should probably put that in the minutes.
I don't trust anybody that comes right.
Jess, you printed me a copy of that other thing?
Yeah, I have
All
them
right, I'll
right
grab
here. I figured everybody's gonna want them, but
Good reading.
Thank you, sir.
He's gonna email that to you,
I guess
Jessica.
I should have figured
Okay.
it wasn't your one, would have been a big
Oh,
story.
yeah, Eddie and I already went through this.
I really wasn't there on Sunday, so it couldn't.
Should we put that in for the minutes?
I'll have to do a story.
He actually called FEMA and wanted him to explain exactly what it's about. He called FEMA to get a clarification, so.
We'll ask him.
Okay.
Eddie, we need you for a second, please.
I'm here.
Could you explain the letter we received from FEMA?
That is FEMA's letter of acknowledgement that the updated maps, floodplain maps, are done, and those two properties listed on the second page were, I forget the term she used, it's in the back there. Revalidated as cases where, and I believe I was involved in both of them, where they tried to get off of their roster of properties that are affected by the flood. Because their flood insurance is 2 or 3 times the normal insurance. And if your buildings, you know, the old practice was, if your plot had a portion of the property in the flood zone, then you had to have flood insurance for your house, even if your house was 50 feet high. So we went through this process, and this letter just states that these properties are still, this case is still active, still valid.
So they considered those 2 properties in the floodplain.
They consider that those 2 are applying, and I don't know where they stand on the case, but they're trying to get off the list of floodplain. Yeah, probably for insurance purposes. Yeah, that's exactly what it's for.
Alrighty?
Does it make sense?
No, I understand. I don't blame them for wanting to get off.
Oh, yeah, I personally owned property in the flood zone, and insurance was horrible, and I tried to explain, I was looking out at the highway, and my basement floor was 10 feet above the highway, so there's no way my house is gonna flood. It doesn't matter. So,
Well, I know they picked that up and doing the hazmat thing. She was zeroing in on floodplains. What's it? Should we have that noted somewhere?
I asked Jessica to file it, one copy of that letter in each one of those properties folder.
Good. Very good. You get to read that one, aren't you lucky? It's exciting. All right, Rich, you got that one? Any other ones?
Is there a better way for us to handle this mail?
Probably.
I think so.
Why
would I have an opinion?
Because, I mean, some of it is we throw away, and some we might want to discuss earlier in the process. Oh, this, yeah, Mary Lou, I would need help. This is from Dead River, their insurance company. This is the Dead River Insurance Company
Yes.
talking to us about our claim.
Yes. We had asked that they update us every 30 days on what's happening.
We are awaiting your damage estimate or your appraiser's figures.
So I,
In the appropriate place below, please check, sign, and date this letter to advise me, yes, I require a 30-day status letter. That's what we want.
yes, that's what we did before.
We've already done it.
We did it once for the first one.
Yes.
You signed it. And then I can fax that over tomorrow to
There might even be.
Tom Carrot.
Tom, he's our fellow.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, but wouldn't he want a copy if they're not getting the estimates from him yet?
Yes, we got to keep them in the loop. There's an envelope in.
There's 2 envelopes.
There might be an envelope.
Could you
in
get
there.
that one? It's down beyond the banners. Do you want the banners? This is really good for town. Put one in your house.
Like a banner right above our
Sure.
town offices.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Talking about all our streetlights.
You can be, oh, it looks like a good one. You got a good one.
All right.
Is that from Hanover Insurance?
Oh.
Is that from Hanover Insurance
Yes.
Company?
Hanover is our,
It was in an envelope.
Yeah, this is from Hanover. So isn't that interesting? We both have the same.
This is a letter from Moose Mountain. Thank you for your February 11th, 2013 membership donation of $100 from the town of Brookfield to Moose Mountain Regional Greenways. Your contribution enables us to help communities and willing landowners in the region to conserve critical nature resources, including water resources, farm, forest lands, wildlife habitat, recreational and cultural scenic areas, renewed support from other member towns, and make real differences by providing the funds we need to do the work. And it goes on and on.
That should go to the Conservation Commission.
Sure.
They actually are the ones that request the dues every year.
Right, we get rid of that one. What do we have? What you look out with?
This is the 2013 school budget for SAU 49, right? 49. Signed by all the school board members, showing the breakdown from elementary, junior high, and middle school, and high school, excuse me. The actual amount voted on for the fiscal year and the breakdown per
Does it
school.
give a number of students
Let me see.
for Brookfield?
I don't believe so.
Number
It is just an overall budget, and any kind of improvements and such.
Okay, we'll file that with in our book and keep. All right. This is the fee structure for
Bank
Eddie,
statements.
for the charges.
That
So
should go on the
each of
website,
these
right?
are
Sure,
a single
that's a good idea.
page. And I ask that all the copies be signed. So wherever there's a Brian Robisheau,
Okay. Any other business? Any other comments? You all set?
Excuse me, yeah,
Yes.
I'd like to know exactly the number of students that do go to Governor Wentworth.
Sure.
84 was the last count, 84.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
and this one is.
Hey, we made good time.
There.
Good.